You know how the Niners kept saying, like, we could easily be 5-0. We could easily be 6-0. It started to sound ridiculous as they lost game after game after game. But then they just dismantled the LA Rams that a lot of people think are a Super Bowl contender. Uh, and now you think, were they right? Like, could they easily have done this every week? What do you think?
That was my immediate reaction when I watched. I was elated for beating LA. No question. That was fantastic. I celebrated the win. I didn't question the win. I didn't second guess it. But I also, in the back of my mind, there was a loud voice that was like, this is who I thought you were the entire season. This is who the 49ers convinced me that they were in the preseason. This is the team I expected to see on a week-to-week basis. And that's why I was so frustrated every time we saw something different. Based on the way that they just completely destroyed LA, it's fair to ask the question, if they played that way, if they continue to play that way, are they capable of beating anybody?
Well, I think, look, of course they're capable of beating anybody. They proved it in this game, and this is a team that went to the Super Bowl. They were 13-3 that year. There's a lot of the same players in there. This is a very talented team with a certain degree of pedigree. Not championship pedigree, but a certain degree of pedigree. And the question is, like, why can't they do it every week? What is up with this team? And I think it comes back to the psychology of the locker room right now. I just said that the Seahawks kind of feel like they're in a lame duck year. Well, don't the 49ers? I mean, it's not that Kyle Shanahan's on the hot seat, although if he, loses a bunch of games, who knows? But it's that Jimmy Garoppolo is a lame duck this year. The locker room believed in him. And to win in the NFL, you have to have a starting quarterback that you believe in and that you rally around. And he's not a great starting quarterback, but you know what? It worked, and they believed in him. And Kyle Shanahan really emasculated him this year.
Yes.
He made it so that the locker room couldn't rally behind him. And no one knew who the quarterback was going to be going into the season. And it's week to week, really. Like, Jimmy played well last week. If he loses to the Jaguars, the questions come back up. So I think this season, this team is full of a bunch of vets that don't understand what the vision is for the present or the future. And that's why you see a flat team weekly. Because who's the quarterback? What's the future? Am I going to be here next year? If Jimmy Garoppolo, who's playing pretty damn well, isn't satisfying the team and they're going to push him out for some rookie who's proven nothing, then where do I stand? I think it's, you know what this season reminds me of? 2014. 2014, because everyone knew that was pretty much a lame duck year for Jim Harbaugh. Was a really talented team. They had the number 5 rated defense, and they finished 8-8. They also, I want to say, at one point were 7-5. Okay, the Niners are 4-5 right now. That 2014 Niners team was 5-4. They went to 7-5 and then fell apart. That's when they lost at Thanksgiving. So keep that in mind, that this team is basically hanging by a thread, and every win keeps it together. But it could all fall apart like it did in 2014.
Yes, I do think, I can't say it's a lame duck year in the same way that it is for Seattle, but I agree with your take on Kyle Shanahan and what he did to Jimmy. Yeah,
it's a lame duck year for Jimmy.
100%. There's very few. There's a 1% chance that Jimmy does anything this year that would keep him around on the San Francisco 49ers. And I think he knows that. And that does make it tough for people to rally behind him in the locker room. That does make it tough for him to try and be the face of the offense or the face of the team. It makes it near impossible for him. But what I sense from the 49ers is that, yes, they came out this season unsure of their identity, unsure of who the leaders were, unsure of the direction, and that bled into their performances. But what I saw against LA was such the performance that it makes you wonder if it could serve as the catalyst for change, if it could serve as the spark that was needed to reignite the locker room and show them who they are this year. That, yes, it's going to be a different team this year, but who they have in the locker room right now is good enough to compete with anybody.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. They need to prove that they can do this again against Jacksonville. If they lose to Jacksonville, or they struggle against Jacksonville, all these things pop back up again.
Yeah. My fear is that it was, and this is, the fear that I'm admitting. It's not what I think. It's what I fear. My fear is that it was a matchup, that it was the Rams are built.
I see it.
The Rams are built to get after the passer, and they are not built to stop the run. The Jaguars have, I think, the fourth best defense against a run, as surprising as that may be when it comes to average yards per carry against them. And so this is going to be a tough matchup. This will help us define who these 49ers are. And the question that I have is, can they keep the identity that they found for themselves Monday night going forward? And we get our first answer on
Sunday.
Sunday.
Kyle. Like that identity that they found is just Kyle calling his offense correctly. So that comes down to him. But I think the part that I'm looking for with the players is how much will they stick together?
Right.
Because when you're all in it together and there's a clear vision for the team, then you can handle some losses. But when I remember 2014, they went to New Orleans and beat the Saints in overtime. The Saints were really good. And every time they would win a game that year, they would say stuff after the game like, well, it's good to put that talk to bed. I mean, we're back and we're back to, but it wasn't. It was always right under the surface, because those things don't go away. Everyone understands there's something's wrong, something's off. It doesn't feel like it felt. This is the way I look at it. There was something very pure about the Shanahan era from 2017 to 2020. It was a bunch of young guys. They brought them together. Everyone felt like there was a family, and players, coaches did right by players. Something's different about this year. The players believed in Jimmy. The coaches said they believed in Jimmy. Then they traded 3 first-round picks for his replacement, and players are like, whoa, wait a second. Did you lie to us? We really thought we all believed in each other. And now you're telling me you don't believe in Jimmy? Well, and for this kid, who the hell is this kid? He didn't even play last year. He's from D2. I can understand it's a very old team that's been together a long time, feeling like the rug got pulled out from underneath them by their coach, who always said he was all in with them.
Yeah, for the 1 year guys, that has to be true. That there's, their money is being messed with at this point, right? The worse that the 49ers do, the worse that those free agent contracts are going to look like for those 1 year veterans. And those are not like 1 year veterans that are role play. There are a lot of key players on 1 year deals, a lot of respected players in the locker room.
Josh Norman, K'Wan Williams, Jaquaski Tart. I mean, on and on.
Yeah. DJ Jones, right? Like, it is. I can sense that unsurety that exists. I don't get the sense of it being as dysfunctional as it seemed in 2014.
They just won.
A loss to Jacksonville could quickly turn me back to 2014.
Remember, they were 7-5 in 2014, and then they lost to Seattle on Thursday Night Football, and it was over. Like, they couldn't take it.
Yeah,
they could not. They were not strong enough of a team to withstand that humiliation. Now the Niners have been humiliated this year, and they bounced back. So maybe they're not 2014.
Right.
I'd like to see them prove that. That team went 8-8, and it was just a mass exodus the next year.
Yes, we will get a taste of who this 49ers team is on Sunday.